Hello YouTube, welcome to my YouTube channel Anna Bella, and today I'm going to be doing a whole summary for season 1 of House of the Dragon. Let's get to the summary. So here is my House of the Dragon season 1 review, also called Dance of the Dragons in the books. The Dance of the Dragons is a prequel to Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is written by George R.R. Martin. Game of Thrones was based on the War of the Roses. The Dance of the Dragons, i.e.g. the House of the Dragons, is based on the Anarchy, which is set in the 12th century, and it is a feud between the Empress Matilda and Stephen of Blois, who is the nephew of Henry I. William Adelin drowned in the White Ship, who was Henry I's heir. He drowned, so then he turned to his daughter Matilda to be heir, and had all the lords in England swear fealty to her, apart from Stephen, who was the nephew of the king, felt that he should be king because he was a boy. So then we had the Anarchy, and to cut a long story short, Matilda ended up ruling Normandy with her son Henry II, who eventually became King of England as Henry II, whilst Stephen ruled England as Stephen, King Stephen. He wasn't even an emperor. At least Matilda was empress. Anyway, it's set in the same time period as Ken Follett's Pillars of the Earth and Worlds Without End, also excellent. But this is the problem. Dance of the Dragons actually has more in common with the Wars of the Roses, because you are dealing with very young royalty killing each other, particularly the three strong boys of Rhaenyra and the other four Targaryen nieces, nephews, cousins. It's all kind of like that. It's far more, for me as a British person, it's far more York and Lancaster Wars of the Roses in the dance than it is the Anarchy. I mean, the initial setup is because Rhaenyra getting shoved out for Aegon II, who is pretty pathetic and dies at 24 from poisoning. Spoiler warning. Overall, the CGI is much better. The dragons are brilliant. The general direction is lovely, though there have been some complaints about various scenes being chopped and chopped, but I haven't seen a full episode. Don't know how I'm able to review it. I'll tell you, social media and lovely, lovely edits. It is that easy. Overall, season 1, brilliantly done. Excellent performances from the young cast as well as the adult actors within it. Kudos goes to Matt Smith and obviously the actors who play the young Rhaenyra and the older Rhaenyra, and I know people have complained about the difference between the two, but the older Rhaenyra has to remain dignified. That's how she gets the throne, because she doesn't react to Alicent. She allows Alicent to show herself as she truly is, particularly at the knife thing. That's when the King of the Driftwood throne fully realises the danger that the High Towers present, not only to Rhaenyra but to the realm as a whole. Otto Hightower's power hungriness is going to bring down the kingdom, and it will eventually, probably in season 2. Overall, the dragons have been beautifully done, CGI excellent, the music has been good. The actual following of the story has been far tighter than I think Game of Thrones. But then again, Game of Thrones, you've got all sorts of different houses. This is just Hightowers versus Targaryen, and then it's Targaryen versus Targaryen, and it's really one family fighting. But you can understand Viserys as a monarch saying, we need to bring in some of the other houses in Westeros to our line, otherwise the Targaryens are going to fall, which is what happens, and it only sort of gets resolved in Game of Thrones, except it doesn't, because the real heir isn't allowed to sit on it. But then again, Daenerys isn't a complete failure, nor is her line a complete failure. I know that's shocking because she doesn't have any children yet, either in the books that may or may not have been written or in the TV show she doesn't, but every single person in Game of Thrones is related to Daemon and Rhaenyra Targaryen. They're like great aunties, uncles, cousins, nieces, nephews, everybody from Baratheon to Lannister. Everybody is related to them. There is nobody in Game of Thrones that ain't related to Rhaenyra and Daemon. Daenerys is obviously related to them because she's Daenerys Stormborn, a Targaryen. Overall, 5 out of 5 for season 1. That's all I have seen. It is very, very good and very well constructed. not in a way that is shocking, not the sex position that we had with the initial Game of Thrones. It's much tighter, much sharper written, and every set piece serves a function. The dinner that they have in that lovely episode, which I haven't seen the full episode, I've just seen the dinner. It reminded me so much of the dinner that Edward IV had before he died in his bed at age 40, where he had all of his wife's children that he'd adopted when he married her, his legitimate children with his wife, and any other foundlings that they'd somehow accumulated round this table. And looking at that was a brilliant dinner, because he did have it. And then after that dinner, everything went to pot when he died, and half of his children ended up dead. Yeah, it's a whole thing. That and the whole who killed the princes in the tower thing, because I'm way over Richard III doing it. Cough, cough, Margaret Beaufort, cough, cough. Probably, but we'll never really know. Anyway, enough about UK history. Westeros is just sort of repeating it, which is really weird. And I'm getting kind of fed up of people saying that Edward VI, which is Henry VIII's son, is like Joffrey Baratheon. I'm like, excuse me, it's not that way round. Edward VI ruled before and was actually a living person. Joffrey Baratheon is a character from a book who looks and sounds like him, but isn't him, because this boy actually was ruling a kingdom from age of 9. Yes, he died at 15, but he was actually making laws and ruling and ripping birds of prey apart when he got cross. Joffrey Baratheon hasn't done any of those things because he's a character on a piece of paper and obviously in a TV show, which is not real. Edward VI was a real king. Just pointing that out. It's getting annoying. You've got to stop saying that, because that's incorrect. It is the other way round. Characters from Game of Thrones are shadows, are types, similar to British aristocratic royalty and the royal family and the various houses. That's just the way it is. They came first, these guys came after, and are very well written, and indeed by George R.R. Martin. Very well written indeed. But anyway, 5 out of 5, and that's my review of Season 1 of House of the Dragons without even having to watch it. Thank you, social media. Well, I hope you enjoyed my summary of the House of the Dragon Season 1. Please like, comment and subscribe, and don't forget to click the notification bell. Bye!